Welcome to the Environment Community Services Committee for December, last one for the year. Do we have, do I have to read anything here? Do the audio thing?
Yes, you better, yes.
Okay, the meeting will be audio recorded and those in attendance should refrain from making any defamatory statements. There are to be no other recordings of this meeting without the prior authorisation of the committee. Welcome. Welcome in the gallery. Nice to see someone in the gallery. Is Michelle speaking?
I'll get to that in a minute.
Yep, okay. All right, any apologies?
There's been none received, Madam Chair.
Okay, any declarations of interest? No.
None have been received.
Public participation?
Madam Chair, I've got two forms completed, one for Michelle Orman on item 12.1 and one from Yvette Ether on 12.3. I understand one or both may choose not to speak, just depending on whether or not councillors wish to ask them questions, but we can put that to them at the time of the report.
Okay, so we might invite Michelle up now.
Yep. Did you want to speak,
Michelle, would you like to speak?
At the moment,
Okay.
the recommendation
Is to-
supports your position, I think, so you don't need to speak unless you wish to.
Okay, yeah, the only thing is you won't get an opportunity later. Yep, okay, so you're right. That's all right.
Yvette Ether. Is Yvette here?
Yvette, would you like to speak? Same deal? Okay, making it too easy for us. Yeah, thank you. Okay, let's go on to business items.
Adopt the minutes.
Oh, where did I miss that? Oh, would someone like to adopt the minutes? Councillor McPhee, got to look at your name. A seconder. Councillor Campbell, all those in favour? Against? Carried. Okay, business items, ECSC 12.1, development application number 50-2022, subdivision of land and dwelling house. Now, we've got all the information in our papers. Is there any clarification questions needed to ask? Will we have a mover first? Move, Councillor McPhee. We have a seconder. Councillor Campbell. Any discussion? All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. I could be here all day going page by page. Okay, ECSC 12.2, development application number 143-2019, regularise the use of a building as a dwelling house. And the recommendation is that council approve the development application on the Golden Highway in Cassler's. Do we have a mover? Councillor McPhee, seconder. Councillor Campbell, any discussion? Councillor Campbell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Could we just, Paul, could you just fill us in a little more on this, please?
Okay. So it's to do with a building that was already constructed there as a on the Golden Highway, just a little bit beyond Cassler's. I became aware of it in about 2018, and it turned out at the time they didn't have development consent. So, following some regulatory work, we issued a notice of intent to serve in order to demolish the building. But they were able to, they had already submitted an application to subdivide the land, which would create lots that would meet the minimum lot size, so the dwelling house could potentially be approved on the land. So we went through that process, and we couldn't approve it until they'd actually registered the subdivision of that lot. So we approved the plan of subdivision, which created the lot that the house was on with an area of about 100 hectares, so then met the minimum lot size. Once that plan was registered, which was just recently, 16th of November, then it was possible for us to proceed to approve it. But we just gave, because they could do something to make it lawful, then we gave them an opportunity to do that. If they couldn't, then we would have said, no, sorry, you just have to demolish it. But in that case, they were fairly willing to work with us to get to the outcome. And the only problem is we can only approve the use of the building. We can't approve the actual construction work. So all we've issued is a approval for the use. If they want to prove that it's being built to the building code standard, they have to go off and get a building information certificate. So that's why there's not many conditions attached to it.
Just further to that, so I'm not familiar with exactly where it is, but there has been some concerns about particular dwellings in the Cassilis area and also at Baramble, and I'm just wondering whether this dwelling will then be brought up to a standard that is proper and acceptable by to council standards. Is that correct?
Well, we have an engineer's report to say that it's structurally sound. So it's a straw bale constructed house, but they provide us with an engineer's certificate to say from a construction point of view, it's not going to fall down, basically. So we're satisfied with that. At the time, our building surveyor came out when we first became aware of it and just did a preliminary check that, you know, it was okay, and he was satisfied at the time that, you know, it seemed to comply with the building code from what he could see. But the trouble is, and you can't tell from the detail from just looking at it. You need to expose the frame, the slab for that level of detail.
Anything further, councillor Campbell?
And yes, and has that been done? What I'm getting at is it acceptable to the council standard, or does it have to be brought up to that standard? I'm just concerned because I must confess, I'm not familiar with this particular block, but as I repeated, I repeat, there's been very much concerns about some of the dwellings there, and that is my concern.
I think what Mr. Smith has already said is because the building had been built, they can't look under the house now. But if it's got an engineer certificate, it comes, he wouldn't have that engineer certificate to meet the guidelines. There's no way we could rip it up. I think it's a good outcome in relation to council working together instead of pulling down a building to make sure that we've got there. I see what you're saying, councillor Campbell, but yeah, we can't go back and pull it up to have a look at the bearings and things like that. So yeah,
I'm sure that wouldn't be acceptable then.
It's up to them to get a building information certificate. We can't actually make them do that. So
yeah. You okay with that, councillor Campbell? Yeah. Okay. All those in favour? Against? Carried. 120.
No, page 8 of the 12 month.
Oh, God. This is not happening today. Sorry, baby. Okay, development application number 142-2021, boundary adjustment dwelling house, secondary dwelling and garage. And the council recommendation is to approve development application for a boundary adjustment, demolition of sheds, dwelling house, 2 secondary dwellings and a garage at lot 2 and lot 3, 90 Sader Road, subject to conditions of consent. And 2, release the restrictions of the use of the land number 2 in the section 88B instrument associated with deposited plan in respect of lots 2 and 3. Is everybody aware of, have read that and understand what's in the paper? Do we have a mover? Move councillor McPhee. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Campbell. Any questions? All those in favour? Against? Carried. Out with all the horse today. Page 122, ECSC 12.4 is development application for commercial alterations and additions. The recommendation is that council approve development application number 163-2022 for commercial alterations and additions at 98 Kelly Street, subject to conditions of consent in attachment 1. Do we have a mover? Councillor Campbell, is that a hand up? Yeah. Seconder, Councillor McPhee, any discussion? All those in favour? Against? Carried.
Sorry, page one.
Yeah.
169.
Sorry, I just haven't got them written down. We're finished, Mr. Mayor. Almost. Okay, page 161. ECSC 12.5 development application number 151-2021 boundary adjustment. The council approved the development application for the boundary adjustment at lot 11 and 12, 1746 Stewart's Brook Road, subject to conditions. Do we have a mover? Councillor McPhee, seconder. Councillor Campbell, do we have any discussion further to what's in the paper?
Yeah, look, probably not being out there, I always like to view things, but look, it's a recommendation, it's very straightforward, I'm very happy to go forward with.
Okay, thank you. All those in favour? Against? Carried. There's no councillor questions. Thank you for attending the December meeting. Merry Christmas.